Hello, Gabi. Thank you so much
Hello,
for joining CRPS Alumni Talks today.
thank you.
You are looking great. I hope that you're
Thank-
also feeling great.
I'm a little bit tired after work, but it's always a pleasure to work
Oh,
with
thank you so
my
much for
whole
joining
life.
the work. Okay. So first, can you introduce to us and other students a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Gabi, made in China, and then I graduated from Ritsumeikan CRPS in 2017, I would say, and among the 4 years, I was exchanged to UBC, Canada, Vancouver for 1 year as an exchange student, and then I was admitted to Kyoto University. The grad school of global environmental studies, and graduated from the Kyoto University. I'm working now in Tokyo in a trading company, which is kind of related to my research when I was in Rits and also in KU. And for my experiences, I think I have a lot of opinions or experiences in job hunting and also in grad school applications because I fail and I got admitted. So I hope that there are something that I can help you with during all the process.
I have no doubts. Of course, your experience will be very, very beneficial for like following generations of CRPS. So yeah, of course. I mean, the first thing after Ritsumeikan, like you got admitted into Kyoto University, right? So
yes.
of course, everyone is interested in masters. So can you just brief us through, like, is it hard to get in, and what other application procedures? Well, maybe you can also mention like how long before the deadline should we prepare for the application? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So actually I think the earlier the merrier, because we are not lucky enough to get admitted to our dream schools, to be frankly, because I was rejected by Tokyo University at once. So I know that it's really important to give you a second choice, or for you to apply, or even to think thoroughly about your future. So my suggestion would be maybe from the third year, you have to think about which major to pursue in the future and your dream schools, whether it's in Japan or in other countries. Because in Japan, I think it took 1 year to get admitted, and you have to apply for the program in advance on the paperwork, and then you get an interview offers, and then you got several exams, I remember. So it takes really a long time or circulation for you to finish one school. So I think at least for you, you need to choose 3 schools, and then maybe 1.5 years it's better for you to prepare, and then to get interviewed, and then to get prepared for everything. So for me, I think most important thing is that to consider what you want. You want a school that is famous, or you want a school with your favorite major. And then I think one thing different from the grad school, from the undergrad school, is that actually grad school is for researches. It's not a basic knowledge that you learn and then you're okay with it. It's like you have to have the ability, or you have the enthusiasm to dig deeper and to research more in a narrow specific academic field. So you actually need, of course, you need to take the exam. For instance, when I was applying for Kyoto University, there were written exams for environmental studies. And then there are interviews, and you also have to submit your, for instance, your research background and your back informations. And more importantly, I think is to keep in touch with your future supervisors in advance. You have to meet it. You have to meet him or her and to keep in touch with them, be active. And for instance, I emailed my supervisors and with all of my experiences, or my Japanese scores, my GPAs, my English scores, my experiences. And then I was like, I'm interested in this seminar. Can I go and join you, like for one time even? And she said, yeah, just come to our seminar. And then we got a lot of really like connections from then on. So I think it's not like one student applying a school, is a one person to one professor kind of connection. So you need to be active and talk to your professors in advance. But GPA is above all. So
I see. So I see like the connection with the future supervisor is very important. Well, I also heard that from some other people, but I'm not sure how exactly do we find them, and how exactly do we talk when we, what do we say when we contact them, and how long before, like, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think when I was applying for Tokyo University, to be frank, I applied for Todai because it's Tokyo University. I didn't consider about my interest or something. I think it's a top school, so I applied it. And in that time, I didn't reach out to the professor. Instead, I just randomly apply, like just apply to the school and then like go through all the processes. But like the supervisors need to choose you like when they know you are suitable for them. So I think there are two ways for you to keep in touch with your supervisors. One is like you Google your professor's name, or then you Google your dream school, your major, and then there pop up some supervisors, and then you just email them. And this is what I do with KU. And then another thing is that you could ask for your professors in your undergrad school. For instance, Uehara Sensei always introduced me several like professors in Tokyo University. So it's also like make use of your resources in Ritsumeikan. It's really helpful. And I think like Kyoto University really start really late, I guess. So I remember I contacted with the professors like 6 months ago or something like that. But I think it's a little bit late. I think at least 1 year before, because like the professors may have a lot of choices. So you don't want to get rejected by one and then you start all over again right before the test. Yeah.
Ooh, I see. So it's like a whole process, right?
Yeah.
And also, so like you also mentioned, but GPA is above all else.
Yeah.
So how about the graduation thesis? How important is it to application for masters?
Yeah, I think GPA is more important than your graduation thesis, because your thesis is like what, a 2-year thing. It's I think both of them is not really important to you when you are deciding on a major, because GPA and graduation thesis are both how to say, a proof of your ability in researching in academic areas. So I think GPA is a 4-year thing, right? And your professors would get to know that, oh, you took economics, you took environmental studies, and you took law. And they will know that what you've learned, and they have a kind of picture of your like knowledge web or something. But to be frankly, like your graduate thesis is quite narrow, right? You write about urban planning, but then actually you are applying for an environmental related major. So it's completely different, but the professor needs to know that you are a good learner and you have the ability to research, and that is all they want to know. So I think for you, people who are looking forward to apply to grad schools, like, just don't mind your graduate thesis. Of course, like you need to finish it at your best, but don't mind it if it's a completely different topic.
I see. So, well, thank you for the many advice on the application procedures. How about like studying in Japan might not be as easy financially for some people. So do you have any experience or any advice for other students to get some scholarships when studying in Japan?
Yeah, so like there are two patterns, right? You study for scholarships or you work for like part-times. From my perspective, I think from your first year to your sophomore year, no, to your senior year, I think for all 3 years, you should prioritize your GPA, because like scholarships, I think they're mostly based on your GPA. So you don't need to work at that time, but then if you get good grade, I think Ritsumeikan will like provide or how to say, give you like scholarships or the tuition reductions. So I think the easiest way is to study hard and to accumulate a good GPA. But when you're in your third year or fourth year and your GPAs are not going to change that much, I think you need to go for a part-time. Not only because like you have more time, you only have seminars, I guess, but then like if you work like half a year or 1 year in a Japanese society, I think your Japanese would be like so much better, so much fluent than you are just taking the Japanese classes. So I would say study for the main and then go baito for 1 year or so. It's so helpful.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you. So that you've had I would say a great time in grad school. Since considering that you decided to stay and work in Japan after the 6 years that you've spent studying here. So I hope I obviously like Japan must have something to keep you.
Yeah, I think like one chance for all of us is that Japan is competitive, but it's for young people, there are so many opportunities, because I think no matter in China or in the Western countries, when you are doing your job hunting, you have to have the skills to complete certain tasks, and then you are admitted, you are hired. But in Japan, I think companies don't really mind like you have the skills or not. They will teach you from the very start. So you don't know nothing about the airplane, but then you want to be a pilot, and they will teach you from the start, and that is something that I never imagined. Yeah. So when you want to learn more and you want to explore your potentials, I think Japan is a good place because you're working while you're learning. And then also like we have English skills, which is really precious for like Japanese companies, I guess, and with our mother tongue. So I think we are competitive to compete with other Japanese students if you speak Japanese.
If we speak Japanese.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah.
So like you mentioned, we don't really need much skills working in Japan. So but for one way to get more skills is to get more like internships during your school years. So how important do you consider internships, and how do you find your internships?
Okay. So firstly, for my internships, like our courses really required that when I was in my grad school. So this is also one thing that you would want to consider when you are picking the schools and the courses. For our major, for our course, the second year of your grad school, you have to work in companies or in bureaus for 3 months. So it really forces us to get an internship. And for me, how I got it is definitely through my supervisor. And if you are not like forced to take an internship, I think you may want to ask about your professors, and you may ask, just go through all the websites. For instance, the UN websites. There are some internships like in Kobe, I remember, and in other places in Japan. So you can acquire a lot of information through that, or even the baito, the part-time how to say informations. There are always something that you can uncover. And for me, I think most importantly, because my internship was kind of related to my research, it was about the waste in Kyoto, especially on the tourism side. So for me, the most important thing is that I acquired the data for my graduation thesis of grad school. But besides that, I think the connections, because you have the resources, which include the data, and the resources which mean the people you're working with. And mostly importantly for us foreigners, we kind of get into a 100% Japanese environment. So our Japanese skills are also improved. And I think, and also internships is really interesting because it's kind of a real working place, right? So you will get to know what this job is doing. For instance, if I would like to be a city office officer, and then I go to I get an internship in the Kyoto City Bureau, and I experienced it, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I want, or this is not actually what I want. And you could like clarify, or you could get a clear image of your future career. So I think if you have a chance, if you discover some informations of internships, just go for it, because it won't be useless.
Yes. So So it's like your internships are very useful, but not completely compulsory. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think because a lot of internships like are full time for me.
Okay.
I remember the UN ones were full time, and my internship was full time too. So you can't skip your classes for like 3 months. So if there is a chance for you to have a part time internship, I think go for it. Yes, but yeah, I think it's not compulsory. Yeah.
I see. So you've been working in a trading company in Japan for like almost a year now, which is very impressive. How did you find this job? Like what what requirements or certificates that you did prepare to get a job or similar, like when you apply for jobs in Japan?
Oh, I think like Japanese companies don't really need like some qualifications. Like if you have some skills, like they will assign you to a specific department. For instance, you can draw or you can design. Maybe they will put you to a similar department, but I think it's completely okay. But as a foreigner, your English skills, if you have the grades, for instance, IELTS, TOEFL, if you have it, take it and then submit it, because it's something that Japanese people doesn't seem to have. And also Japanese language skills, I think N2 is kind of okay for a lot of companies. Japanese people, like, I don't think that they say that we need N1 students. They will say like the people who can communicate in Japanese in formal and informal occasions. So I think for you, it's like if you can go to the interview and you can communicate them, your Japanese is completely okay. And as I said, like Japanese companies, like they push you, they don't require any qualifications when you are entering this company, but they will push you to study when you enter this. So recently I've been taking exams with legal systems and trading knowledge, and then some financial like tests. So I think just be relaxed when you're applying the jobs, because the hard things are all after you are admitted. So just, yeah, take your time and decide which company that you're really passionate about and then apply for it. That's it.
So when did we, if you want to have a job after graduation, when should we start finding for job? Like how long would it take?
Oh, so I think Japanese students start job hunting in April, but then we need to start job hunting in October, I think. It's like at the beginning of your fourth year, because there are two patterns. There are a lot of people who work hard from April, because they don't know. There are a lot of companies and they apply like 50, 60, 100 companies from April. But I'm not that kind of person who submit applications to a lot of companies. For me, like, I start early and I end it early. So from September to say March of your last year, like, you need to explore yourself and to 100% know like what jobs that I'm looking for for instance, I'm looking for trading companies, and I have to take like half a year to figure out exactly what I'm looking for and what kind of companies that want people like me. So it's kind of a mutual selection process. You have to take half the time to speak to yourself and half of the time to speak to the company. So yeah, start from September, and then from next year, April, you just apply to the companies that you are already selected. And that is the fast way, I think.
I see. So what I'm seeing is like on commonly, like on common ground, I find Japanese students, they started to find jobs on their 4th year of college. Not many of them actually go to masters. So it just makes people wonder like how important is master's degree to job hunting, or like what other like what are the uses of master's degree, to be honest.
Yeah, I think for countries like Japan, like they don't actually require you to have skills when you are recruited. So master degree it's something like an insurance if you want to stay in Japan or you want to go back to your home country, I guess. So for me, I was not sure to work in Japan or to work back home or in other countries. So I was like, I simply think that undergrad's knowledge is not enough. So I proceeded to the grad school. But frankly speaking, for Japanese people, like the earlier the better, because you graduated in 22, say, and then you start working and then you learn from the company for 2 years. And this is exactly the knowledge that you will be using in your workplace instead of you study 2 years in master programs and then you enter a completely different company. You have to start learning their specific knowledge all over again. So I think if you are not passionate about master's degree and you want to work in Japan, as long as you're Japanese, as long as you can handle the Japanese interviews, I think, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So what you keep repeating that Japanese companies doesn't require much professional skills. So like that's why you're so wondering, like, other than Japanese, what are the skill, like what is the most useful skills that you learned in Ritsumeikan that can be used in your job right now?
I think because what they're looking for is not actually your skills. They want to see like, do we want this person? Do we want his characters? Do we want a person of his background? So from this perspective, I think as long as you're upbeat, you're active, and you have the background of Ritsumeikan, I think it's not that difficult. Yeah, because when I got interviewed, like in my final interview, and the boss was like, why do you go to masters when you have that excellent academic background already in Ritsumeikan? So it's like we all have like potentials to get admitted to our dream companies. It's just how to say how matchy and how can you persuade your company with your stories. So I think firstly, of course, you have to be active when you are doing the interviews, and you speak Japanese, and your GPA can't be like significantly low. So if your GPA is like, I think 3 something, I think it's kind of okay if you have some like extracurricular activities that could like add up some points. But then yeah, GPA is also an important point. So yeah, I think the most important thing is like to tell a story to your interviewees. If you can tell the story perfectly, others just don't matter that much. So yeah.
Okay, tell a story of how are you as a person, right?
Yeah, because job hunting, like you compete with, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000 people, and a lot of people write their entry sheet is like the application letters to introduce themselves, right? A lot of people like write the same thing and send the same thing to a hundred different companies, and I will bet like 80% of them will fail, because we all have different characteristics. We have different like 10 personalities, but then for different companies, we write the different perspectives out of us for them to see. For instance, if it's an entrepreneur, no, it's a manufacturing company, for instance, Hitachi. They are looking for someone that is careful, that is responsible, because if you're doing the manufacturing business and then you make a product that is not of good quality and you're not careful enough, of course they won't hire you. So when you're applying for those industries, be careful to write yourself as a responsible person, and sometimes a slow worker is also persuasive for them. But in my case, like I apply for the trading companies, or even other people's are applying for the IT companies. They think as a careful person, it's a good characteristics, but they are not looking for it. So when you are applying for the trading companies or IT companies, you have to say like, I am a challenging person. I'm looking forward to all the different possibilities. And that is something that the trading companies want in you, because they want to expand their business, right? So you have to give them what they want in you. Yes. So I think if you can analyze yourself to an extent that I want to go to this company and what this company wants is this, and then matchy, you bring the most of this quality in you to them, and I think, yeah, you just get the job easily.
Well, I see. Well, it's like different environments for each company, right? So,
yeah.
So you eventually chose a trading company that I hope that it best match your personality or your values. So how how do you feel working in Japan? Is it hard or?
Yeah, it's because I'm only like second year, so I'm learning. I still like feel like student, because like Japanese people, Japanese companies, like they will allocate you in different departments, and then they have job rotations every year. So last year I was studying about the logistics, and then I was handling about all the logistics, transportation, all the like how to say, how do I face it, like the basic logistic mechanisms of this company. And then from this year now on, I was involved in an upper level, for instance, the production management. So I think there, for me, I didn't really not yet get into exactly about the trading part, but we are accumulating our knowledge through the years. So I think it's really precious for you to be able to learn when you are working in a company, because it's kind of like working and then studying and then getting salary. So
Getting salary.
Yeah.
How is the salary though? Oh wait, no.
Yeah, salary, like everyone, I think is the same. It's like without all the taxes, it's like 20, like 20 month, which is what, 200,000? Is that 200,000 Japanese yen? Somewhere around that. And then when you're, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, it gets up. If you're in the like, but if you're in the IT or the consultant companies, I think definitely your salaries will fluctuate, because if you have more cases, and you get more salaries. So
wow. That is so. Thank you for some very invaluable insights into working in Japan. So do you, and now that you're working, do you miss studying, or is it working better?
I think I missed that. I think I like working. I don't know why, because like we don't have vacations. Definitely, this is some of the nightmares of all the working people. But then when you are working, like you are forced to learn so many things. Not only like within your like work content or work range. Like you kind of steal a lot of knowledge from other people, and then when you get in charge of something, like the sense of accomplishment is what we don't have as a student. And also like teamwork is much more important in a company, instead of like in seminar, or when we are writing our essays or graduation thesis, we do our own, and then we kind of consult with our professors, and that is at most. But then if you're in a team, in a working place, it's like you not only learn about the knowledge, you learn about how to deal with things. You learn about the Japanese culture, and you get salary. So yeah.
Thank you. Well, that's very nice. Because you see, like not many people look forward to working.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to work when I was a student either, because who can live with the life without summer vacations? Like I can't imagine that. Every day 6 o'clock early in the morning, like that's just doesn't make sense. But surprisingly it makes sense, because it makes your life more regular. I have to live at like 12, or I can't get up in the next day. So
yeah, we probably need that right now very much.
yeah, I guess students are not sleeping until like 2 in the AM. So.
Yeah, and with all the online classes going on, like no one's having a proper regular day. So as a person who's been living in Japan for almost a decade now, I think, what advice would you give to your juniors to have like the best time? It can be in Ritsumeikan or in Japan in general. It's okay.
Yeah, so when we are students, just study is above everything. Like you can play or you can join some extracurriculum activities in unis or drink or just enjoy your your time, but your GPA, I think, is the most important thing because you pay so many tuition. Just make it worth, and it also paves the way for you to, when you are doing either job hunting or grad school applications. So study first and do your part-time for 1 year and more, because your language skills won't improve until you get a part-time job that requires fine Japanese. Like, don't get jobs in hotels. Like, I think hotels it's quiet, but then if you're doing the cleaning part, like, you don't speak Japanese. So get something as like custom services. For instance, I was in the drugstore. Like, you have to be the cashier and you have to talk to the customers, and that's when we got pushed to speak Japanese, to speak Keigo, which is so freaking troublesome if you don't speak it and then you are working in a Japanese company, right? You take the phones and then you can't speak Keigo, and then you're gonna be done at the time. Yes.
Oh, well, that is so nice.
Yeah.
Well, like, we're all trying our best to have the best time abroad, so we don't have to waste all the
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I came to Ritsumeikan. It's such a great environment for both work and live. I mean, like, study too as well. So yeah, I think that would be the end of our interview today. I'm sorry if it went a little bit over time. I asked you too many questions. Well, thank you so much for spending your time here, even though you've had a hard day at work.
Yeah, I have to study for the tests later, so yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you have any like other questions you want to ask us, you can ask me right now, or you can contact me through the email that I've been contacting you with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.